The first warning came as a ripple across the outer colonies, subtle shifts in interstellar communications that humans initially mistook for routine galactic chatter, yet the seasoned operators of Earth Command knew the signs of something far larger. Sensors reported fleets assembling near the fringes of human-controlled space, massive armadas from the Triari, Dominion, and the Kalthor combined, their vessels bristling with weaponry so advanced that even the most seasoned Earth tacticians felt a twinge of apprehension. Yet the core of humanity remained unshaken, relying on decades of intelligence, preparation, and unassuming ingenuity that galactic observers continually underestimated, as the aliens assumed humans were primitive, disorganized, and slow to adapt. Earth's leaders convened immediately, a council of politicians, generals, scientists, and engineers whose diverse expertise allowed them to pose a threat with both precision and creativity. And as reports flooded in about the approach vectors, weapon signatures, and potential engagement strategies, a counterplan began to emerge that leveraged humanity's strengths in asymmetric warfare, rapid technological iteration, and psychological resilience, recognizing that direct confrontation against superior fleets would be suicidal, yet exploitation of terrain, stealth, electronic warfare, and suborbital deployment could level the playing field. And so, under the cover of diplomatic feints and strategic disinformation, human forces moved into position. Stations on icy moons converted into decoys, civilian ships retrofitted with autonomous drones and electromagnetic pulse modules, and covert operations teams infiltrated alien supply lines with surgical precision, all while maintaining the illusion of vulnerability to lure the arrogant fleets deeper into contested space, a masterful orchestration of patience and cunning. As the first skirmishes erupted, the Triari and Kalthor were shocked by the speed and decisiveness of human responses, fighter squadrons materializing from hidden orbital docks, deploying drones that disabled shields and disrupted navigation without warning, cargo vessels rigged to detonate in tightly controlled bursts that shredded capital ship hulls, and electronic countermeasures that turned enemy sensors against themselves, creating chaos and confusion while human commanders coordinated from mobile command hubs, seamlessly integrating real-time data from thousands of satellites and reconnaissance drones, their decisions precise, adaptive, and ruthlessly effective, leaving the alien admiral scrambling to understand how a species they deemed primitive could predict movements, anticipate reactions, and counter strategies that were centuries ahead of their own military doctrine. And as the first of their vessels exploded in spectacular bursts of plasma and debris, a ripple of panic began to spread through the invading armadas, their overconfidence collapsing under the weight of human ingenuity. Yet this was only the beginning, as Earth's forces, disciplined and relentless, exploited every weakness with creative brutality, cutting off reinforcements, collapsing supply chains, and turning once secure zones into deadly traps, all while maintaining strict operational security and minimal civilian exposure. And across the cosmos, news of these victories spread like wildfire, whispering of a species that refused a bow, that harnessed intellect, courage, and unity in ways the galaxy had never seen. As human engineers improvised new weapons from salvaged alien technology, combining it with their own designs in astonishingly effective hybrids, warships that could cloak, accelerate unpredictably, and project energy with unprecedented precision, fleets that moved as one organism, coordinated by AI-assisted human intuition, and the alien commanders, their arrogance shattered, began to realize that every calculation, every assumption about human limitations was fatally flawed, and the universe itself seemed to pause as humanity, underestimated and dismissed, began to reveal the full scope of its unstoppable potential, a revelation that would echo through every star system touched by the conflict, marking the first chapter in a war that would redefine what it meant to challenge humanity, not through raw power alone but through intellect, adaptability, and the unyielding drive to protect what was theirs and those who could not defend themselves. And as the first waves of alien fleets retreated in confusion and awe, humanity did not celebrate recklessly, for they understood that the storm had only begun. Yet with each calculated strike, each flawlessly executed maneuver, each display of creativity and courage, they were sending a message to the galaxy: underestimate humans at your peril. For when pressed, they were not only capable but unstoppable, and the battle for the stars had truly begun. As the remnants of the first alien fleets retreated toward their staging systems, human intelligence teams quickly analyzed the damage, capturing data from disabled ships, salvaging advanced weapons, and decoding previously unknowable technologies, while Earth Command coordinated with planetary governors and sector administrators to reinforce vulnerable points, establish rapid response protocols, and mobilize civilian engineers into auxiliary support roles, all operating under strict security, to prevent leaks that might alert the remaining invaders to humanity's growing capabilities. And yet, despite the mounting chaos, the human population remained astonishingly composed, driven by a mix of fear, pride, and resolve, understanding that survival depended on unity, innovation, and the exploitation of every tactical advantage, while alien leaders, struggling to comprehend the magnitude of their miscalculation, began sending fragmented reconnaissance and diplomacy fleets, attempting to negotiate ceasefires or intimidate with displays of destructive potential, only to encounter humans who were always 3 steps ahead, preemptively neutralizing communications, jamming transmissions, and deploying decoys that made even the most advanced alien sensors appear unreliable. And in the void between stars, human strike teams executed ambushes with surgical precision, disabling warships before their crews realized they were under attack, boarding parties capturing critical officers, and extracting intelligence that revealed command hierarchies, operational patterns, and weaknesses that would have taken decades to deduce otherwise. And on the home front, scientists working in orbital laboratories discovered ways to reverse-engineer alien energy sources, integrating them with existing human technology to produce defensive grids capable of neutralizing entire weapon barrages, shields that dynamically adapted to attack vectors, and propulsion systems that allowed ships to reposition faster than anything the aliens had anticipated, creating a force that was not only reactive but preemptively dominant, a blend of ingenuity and unpredictability that defied conventional understanding. And as a second wave of attacks approached, spanning multiple star systems simultaneously, humanity's fleet, once considered modest by interstellar standards, had transformed into a networked armada capable of projecting force across vast distances with unmatched coordination, striking key installations, severing supply lines, and outmaneuvering larger alien squadrons, forcing retreat after retreat and sowing panic throughout their command structures, while diplomatic channels intended to unify alien species against Earth collapsed under the weight of repeated failures, revealing fractures and rivalries that human strategists exploited by offering selective aid, misinformation, and calculated displays of power. And yet, despite the staggering scale of operations, humans maintained ethical constraints, protecting civilian populations, minimizing unnecessary casualties, and demonstrating discipline that contrasted sharply with the alien emphasis on domination and destruction, further enhancing their reputation across neutral systems and drawing hesitant allies to humanity's cause. As word of these victories spread, entire regions of the galaxy began to reconsider their stance, realizing that humans were not only capable of defending themselves but could decisively reshape the balance of power. And in the midst of relentless battle, Earth's leaders convened councils to plan the next phase, focusing on long-term security, expansion of strategic influence, and preparation for the inevitable countermeasures the aliens would attempt, knowing that patience, precision, and adaptability would determine not just survival, but supremacy. And as human fleets continued to strike with surgical efficiency, alien forces, once confident in their superiority, began to fracture internally, their morale collapsing under the reality that every assumption they had made about humans, their speed, intellect, resilience, and capacity for innovation, was catastrophically wrong, and the stage was set for a confrontation that would force the galaxy to finally acknowledge that humanity, underestimated and mocked for generations, had awakened as a force truly unstoppable. The alien command councils, desperate to regroup and regain control, began sending increasingly erratic orders as their intelligence network struggled to account for human unpredictability, while on Earth, scientists and tacticians collaborated in a synergy that blurred the lines between technology, strategy, and improvisation, creating new forms of warfare that the invaders had never imagined possible, with orbital shipyard producing adaptive vessels capable of reconfiguring their weapons, loadouts mid-battle, autonomous drones that could swarm, infiltrate, and disable entire squadrons, and AI-assisted tactical systems that allowed humans to anticipate enemy maneuvers with uncanny accuracy, all while maintaining rigorous secrecy to preserve the element of surprise. Across contested space, ambushes became more sophisticated, as humans drew enemy fleets into strategically chosen zones where gravitational anomalies, asteroid fields, and artificially induced energy storms gave them significant advantages, and even the most advanced alien ships found themselves trapped or disabled by human ingenuity, forcing retreats that were no longer orderly but panicked and chaotic, as crews abandoned formations, misfired weaponry, or collided in confusion. And throughout these operations, human diplomats, leveraging captured alien intelligence, opened channels to neutral or wavering civilizations, offering protection, trade, and alliance, effectively isolating the Triari and Kalthor by depriving them of potential reinforcements and intelligence, while the public on Earth and allied systems celebrated cautiously, understanding that victory depended on continued vigilance, innovation, and the unwavering coordination of every branch of human society, as civilian scientists, engineers, and volunteers contributed to fleet operations, developing field modifications, repairing damaged vessels under fire, and creating contingency protocols that anticipated scenarios the aliens had not even conceived. And as these coordinated efforts began to take effect, entire alien colonies were forced to surrender without resistance, realizing that human technological adaptability, combined with strategic patience and decisive action, rendered conventional resistance futile. And yet, humanity did not merely defeat them through brute force, but through clever manipulation of perception, psychological operations that sowed doubt, fear, and confusion, turning alien officers against one another, while simultaneously showcasing restraint that impressed neutral observers, who began to regard humans not as mere aggressors but as disciplined, intelligent, and unyielding protectors of those who could not defend themselves. And as the scope of human dominance expanded across multiple star systems, alien leaders attempted desperate measures, massive fleet concentrations, planetary bombardments, and experimental superweapons, but each was anticipated and countered with minimal losses, revealing an almost prescient understanding of alien psychology and tactics. And as the battles raged on, human military doctrine evolved in real time, integrating lessons learned, applying rapid improvisation, and developing strategies that combined asymmetric warfare, technological superiority, and moral high ground in ways that left the galaxy stunned. And in the command centers of the Triari and Kalthor, shock turned into fear as their fleets were systematically dismantled, supply lines severed, and colonies liberated under human oversight. And it became clear that every attempt to regain control only played into human strengths, reinforcing the narrative that they were not merely defending their homeworld but actively reshaping the balance of power across the galaxy. And the first real signs of alien surrender began to emerge, fragmented at first, as planetary governors, fleet commanders, and political leaders concluded independently that continuing the conflict would be suicidal against an opponent whose ingenuity, resilience, and unity were unmatched. And through this combination of precise tactics, technological innovation, and psychological mastery, humanity solidified a reputation that no civilization could ignore. They were unstoppable, and the galaxy would never again underestimate what it meant to challenge the human race. With the initial victories firmly establishing humanity's dominance, Earth Command shifted from purely defensive operations to controlled expansion and strategic containment, recognizing that leaving alien forces to recover would only prolong the conflict. And so, fleets moved systematically to liberate occupied systems, secure critical resource nodes, and establish forward operating bases that allowed rapid response across multiple sectors, while scientists and engineers simultaneously pushed the boundaries of human technology, creating energy projection arrays capable of neutralizing entire fleets, stealth vessels that could slip undetected through the densest defenses, and adaptive AI systems that not only coordinated human forces but learned and evolved with every engagement, anticipating alien tactics before they could be deployed. And as liberated civilizations came into contact with humans, they were stunned not only by the military effectiveness but by the discipline, ingenuity, and ethical restraint of humanity, which immediately began providing humanitarian aid, infrastructure repair, and diplomatic support, fostering alliances that shifted the balance of power dramatically, while alien leaders, now fractured and panicked, attempted to rally scattered fleets, sending emissaries with desperate ultimatums, only to encounter humans who had already anticipated these moves, intercepting messages, countering propaganda, and turning even attempted diplomacy into strategic advantage. And as the second phase of the campaign unfolded, human commanders orchestrated multi-pronged offensive designed to simultaneously dismantle command structures, sever supply lines, and neutralize experimental weapons programs, using small, highly coordinated units to outmaneuver far larger forces with precision and adaptability, all while maintaining strict operational security and minimizing collateral damage, reinforcing the galaxy's perception that humans were not reckless conquerors but disciplined, unstoppable strategists. And as the alien military suffered repeated humiliations, internal dissent erupted, commanders disobeyed orders, colonies threatened rebellion, and entire fleets mutinied rather than face annihilation, giving humans additional strategic leverage. And in these moments of chaos, Earth's intelligence networks captured key alien leaders, conducted rapid interrogations, and extracted actionable intelligence that allowed the systematic neutralization of critical infrastructure, further amplifying human effectiveness. While on the home front, the civilian population remained deeply engaged, contributing to scientific breakthroughs, logistical operations, and real-time tactical simulations that allowed Earth Command to deploy solutions faster than the aliens could react. And across the liberated territories, humanity's reputation grew exponentially, as stories of strategic brilliance, selfless heroism, and technological innovation spread, demonstrating that human strength lay not only in weapons or numbers but in unity, adaptability, creativity, and an unshakable resolve. And as the final remnants of the Triari and Kalthor fleets attempted last-ditch efforts to regroup, they were met with devastating, preemptive strikes that shattered remaining forces, captured key systems, and forced formal surrenders, leaving alien leaders humbled, humiliated, and acutely aware that every underestimation of humanity had been catastrophically wrong. And in the quiet aftermath, as humans surveyed the systems they had liberated, reconstructed, and defended, they understood that a war was not only a testament to their technological and tactical superiority, but a demonstration of their moral and strategic restraint, an example to the galaxy that while humans could be unstoppable in battle, they were also disciplined, innovative, and united. And as messages of surrender, reconciliation, and tribute poured in from across the stars, humanity's message became unmistakable. They would protect what was theirs, defend the weak, and rise to any challenge. And the galaxy, having learned the consequences of arrogance, would never again underestimate the unstoppable force of human ingenuity, courage, and resolve. As humanity consolidated its control over the liberated systems, Earth Command shifted focus toward the complete neutralization of lingering alien threats, recognizing that half measures would allow adversaries to regroup and pose future dangers. And so, task forces moved with methodical precision, combining orbital bombardments with surgical boarding operations, deploying specialized units trained in both combat and cyber infiltration to disable command hubs, weapons arrays, and propulsion networks simultaneously, while scientists and engineers pushed technological boundaries further, integrating alien energy sources, propulsion systems, and weapon designs into human platforms, producing hybrid warships capable of unprecedented maneuverability, stealth, and firepower. And as human fleets advanced through contested sectors, alien forces, desperate and disorganized, attempted guerrilla tactics, ambushes, and sabotage, only to find themselves countered at every turn by humans who anticipated, adapted, and executed responses with flawless timing, leveraging real-time intelligence gathered from captured ships, hacked networks, and allied informants. And across the galaxy, word of human ingenuity, discipline, and ruthlessness spread rapidly, sowing fear and uncertainty among remaining hostile factions, fracturing alliances, and inspiring neutral civilizations to offer aid, alignment, or safe harbor, drawn by the reputation of a species that combined compassion with overwhelming effectiveness. While on the ground, human operatives secured key installations, established defensive grids, and trained liberated populations to maintain order, repair infrastructure, and assist in further operations, all coordinated seamlessly through advanced communication networks that allowed Earth Command to orchestrate simultaneous campaigns across multiple star systems. And as alien leaders realized that conventional fleets could not overcome human adaptability, they resorted to desperate measures, deploying prototype superweapons, collapsing entire planetary surfaces, and attempting to unleash experimental energy phenomena. Yet each maneuver was countered, adapted to, or turned against them through human ingenuity, improvisation, and an uncanny understanding of alien psychology. And as the galaxy watched these confrontations unfold, Entire civilizations that had long feared human expansion now recognized their tactical brilliance, strategic patience, and technological superiority, while humans continue to maintain moral and ethical boundaries, ensuring civilian populations and allies remained unharmed, and demonstrating that true power lay not only in the ability to destroy but in the discipline to protect and the foresight to plan. And in the climax of this phase, coordinated strikes across multiple systems simultaneously disabled the last major alien fleets, captured or neutralized critical warlords, and forced formal capitulations, leaving the Triari, Kalthor, and remaining factions shocked at the comprehensive and unstoppable force humanity had become, and as humans broadcast messages of peace, discipline, and readiness to assist in reconstruction, the galaxy began to internalize a profound truth, that humanity's rise had been underestimated at every stage, their ingenuity and resilience unmatched, and that the consequences of underestimating them had been catastrophic, cementing their reputation as not just survivors or warriors, but as a species whose determination, intelligence, and unity rendered them truly unstoppable. And as Earth Command reviewed the full scope of operations, systems secured, fleets operational, and allies integrated, leaders recognized that the galaxy had entered a new era, one in which human influence, protection, and power will be felt in every contested system, and any future aggression would be met with a level of precision, adaptability, and resolve that no civilization could hope to counter, establishing humanity not merely as a participant in galactic affairs, but as a decisive force shaping the balance of power across the stars. And the message was clear. To challenge humanity was to invite inevitable defeat, as their combination of courage, intellect, and relentless innovation had proven to the universe that they were truly unstoppable. With the bulk of the alien fleets neutralizing key systems secured, humanity shifted from reactive campaigns to proactive galactic strategy, establishing coordinated sectors under unified command, integrating newly liberated civilizations into cooperative defense and research networks, and leveraging every victory to reinforce alliances, while scientists, engineers, and strategists pushed the boundaries of human innovation at an unprecedented pace, creating adaptive energy shields, interstellar logistics networks, and predictive tactical AI capable of analyzing multiple battle scenarios simultaneously, allowing human forces to operate with new perfect foresight. And as the remaining alien leaders attempted desperate strikes, deploying remnants of experimental weapons and untested fleets, they encountered humans who anticipated every contingency, countering with precision strikes, electronic warfare, and cleverly orchestrated feints that disoriented enemy crews and rendered conventional tactics obsolete, while Earth Command, working with allied councils, orchestrated simultaneous humanitarian, logistical, and military operations across dozens of systems, ensuring civilians and infrastructure were protected even as human forces executed decisive actions. And this integration of strategy, ethics, and overwhelming capability further enhanced humanity's reputation, drawing hesitant civilizations fully into their sphere of influence, eager for protection and collaboration. And as alien militaries continued to crumble, internal dissent grew, mutinies and rebellion spread, and once formidable factions disintegrated under the pressure of a force that combined relentless operational discipline, innovative technology, and unshakable resolve, while humanity continued to expand its technological edge, converting captured alien assets into hybrid platforms that offered superior speed, firepower, and survivability, deploying autonomous units capable of simultaneous offensive and defensive operations across multiple theaters, and orchestrating synchronized strikes that crippled remaining hostile infrastructure without unnecessary loss of life. And in parallel, human diplomats and cultural ambassadors engaged liberated civilizations, integrating their knowledge, history, and culture into broader human strategies, fostering loyalty, cooperation, and shared vision for interstellar security. And as these efforts unfolded, the galaxy began to recognize that humanity's power was not simply martial but systemic, integrating intelligence, ethics, technology, and adaptability in ways no alien civilization had ever conceived. And as the final vestiges of organized resistance faltered, human fleets executed simultaneous precision strikes that captured or neutralized remaining warlords, decommissioned advanced weapons, and reasserted control over contested sectors, leaving alien leadership humbled, fractured, and fully aware that every underestimation of humanity had been catastrophic, While on Earth and across Allied systems, celebrations were tempered by strategic vigilance, as leaders recognized that maintaining galactic stability required continued innovation, coordination, and disciplined oversight, and as humanity broadcast messages of reconciliation, reconstruction, and readiness to protect. The galaxy collectively understood that they had witnessed a species whose unity, ingenuity, and relentless determination made them unstoppable, and as fleets, colonies, and Allied Council coordinated to ensure lasting security, Earth Command reflected on the journey from initial threat detection to total dominance, acknowledging that humanity's combination of intellectual innovation, tactical brilliance, ethical restraint, and sheer adaptability had redefined the rules of interstellar engagement, cementing their position as a decisive force in the galaxy and sending an unequivocal message to any who might underestimate them in the future, challenge humanity at your peril. For they had proven that when pressed, they were not merely capable of survival, they were unstoppable, and the galaxy would never again misjudge the depth, resourcefulness, or resilience of the human race. With every major threat neutralized and the remnants of alien forces subdued or integrated into cooperative alliances, humanity began the careful work of consolidating its position across the galaxy, establishing secure trade routes, defensive perimeters, and communication networks that linked every liberated system to Earth Command, while simultaneously fostering research, cultural exchange, and governance initiatives that ensured stability, resilience, and shared prosperity. And as scientists continued to adapt captured alien technology, human engineers created interstellar infrastructure capable of sustaining rapid mobilization, advanced surveillance, and planetary defense on a scale previously thought impossible, while fleets remain on alert to respond instantaneously to any emerging threats, projecting power not through intimidation alone but through disciplined, precise, and adaptable operations. And as alien leaders, once arrogant and dismissive, submitted to terms of surrender and cooperation, they were forced to acknowledge the depth of human strategy, ingenuity, and moral restraint, recognizing that every assumption about human weakness, indecisiveness, or inferiority had been catastrophically flawed. And across neutral and allied civilizations, the narrative of humanity's rise spread rapidly, inspiring respect, awe, and cautious admiration, as populations witness a species capable not only of defending itself but of protecting others, adapting at unimaginable speeds, and prevailing against overwhelming odds. And in the quiet moments following the last engagements, Earth's leaders reflected on the journey from initial provocation to galactic ascendancy, understanding that the victories had been achieved through a combination of foresight, technological innovation, strategic patience, and the unwavering unity of a species that refused to be underestimated. And as human fleets patrolled former battle zones, reconstructing infrastructure, assisting in planetary recovery, and integrating alien knowledge into broader strategies, the galaxy began to internalize a profound truth. Humanity was unstoppable, not because of raw force alone, but because of creativity, adaptability, discipline, and moral resolve, qualities that no alien species could match. And as Earth broadcast messages of peace, security, and readiness to defend allies, civilizations across the stars adjusted their perceptions, treaties were rewritten, and former adversaries chose cooperation over conflict, while humanity's reputation solidified into legend, a testament to the consequences of underestimation. And as the last systems were stabilized and the final threats neutralized, humans looked to the future with confidence, knowing that their ingenuity, resilience, and unity would allow them to meet any challenge, protect the weak, and continue shaping galactic affairs with precision and wisdom. And the universe, having witnessed their rise, understood a truth it could no longer ignore. When humanity is provoked, when the galaxy threatens them or those they protect, they are unstoppable, and their legacy as a force capable of decisively altering the balance of power, defending the innocent, and mastering both technology and strategy would endure across the stars for generations, a reminder that no civilization, no matter how advanced, should ever underestimate the human spirit, intellect, and indomitable will, for in the endless expanse of space, humanity had proven itself supreme, unyielding, and truly unstoppable.